Hello, Dr. Mac here. Week 7. Can you believe it? You did it. You're here. You're watching another one of my videos. Hopefully, they haven't been too painful for y'all. I just thought I'd stop in this week to talk a little bit about the content that we read in regards to unions and bargaining, and share my own experiences. So, much like probably some of you or many of you, if you've worked in HR or if you haven't worked in HR, unions tend to get a bad rap. But I think that's just because of the amount of time and energy and the way that organizations have traditionally labeled them. And, I can remember the first time I heard about a union. It was my grandfather. He was working in the steel industry, and they had initiated a strike due to environmental issues like asbestos, etc., payment, because they were taken advantage of. And that was the first time I actually heard of a union. And in that sense, I started to learn a little bit more about the role of unions in creating ethical and fair workplaces. We'd like to assume that every workplace has the moral compass to do the right thing, but in some sense, there are still businesses, and they look at profit and over people sometimes. And although that results in immediate gratification, it doesn't always result in long-term gratification, because you lose employees. There's turnover, retention issues, the image that you're displaying to the outer community. And so I think that with my own education and learning about unions, it was really important to understand the role of unions, and that they're not this big bag wolf per se, but they're actually a third party representative to help both the employee and employer get to a common ground where they feel valued, appreciated, etc., when the employer isn't following their commitment. And so my next experience with unions came with a bunch of my favorite teachers where I got my undergrad from. They hadn't had a contract in a while and were working without pay because of budgetary issues. And some of my favorite mentors and teachers were speaking up about it. And so I went to join them on the picket line because I believe in equality and equity and fair payment and to be paid for your labor. And then fast forward to this past year and a half. Some of you may know that Antioch has formed a union. There's always been a union at Antioch at the Seattle campus, but all of the campuses came together to bargain and create a union, and I was actually on the organizing union team and also sit currently on the bargaining action team today for rights and representatives of employees. I love Antioch. I've committed 10 years of my life to Antioch. I've gotten my doctorate from Antioch, and I'm always going to support them, but some of their practices have not always followed the people first mentality in how they administer policies and practices, and administration is aware of that. And so a union was brought in, and we're sitting together collectively at the bargaining table looking at key issues and how we can create a more just, equal workplace. And that is from better healthcare benefits to on-time contracts and payment for work done, to things that are supportive of women's healthcare and rights, and medical leave and FMLA and childcare, maternity leave, etc., because those things are important, and I think that in my experience now, I see unions not as this scary thing or even as a force of nature. I see it as collective strength of working together to achieve a common outcome. And I think that unions just come into organizations or workplaces with the skill sets needed to get organizations better equipped to handle such issues of compensation to benefits, etc. And so I see them as a positive influence. Even before my time as a teacher, I come from a blue collar family, so you know, I think that, that also affects the way that I've seen bargaining and unions and the importance of, trade unions and being paid fairly. And, I try not to let that affect the way in which I see unions. And that is why I note oftentimes that they are a neutral third party that, is there for the people, is there for the employees, the people that make universities, hospitals, schools, great. And so I just wanted to share some of my experiences and topics and examples because, I've been there, I've gone through it. And I think that as an HR professional, you might come into contact with unions in the future, and, to be aware of both how they can support both the organization and also the employee voices is important. So if you have any questions about this week, feel free to email me. Be sure to check out assignment deadlines since it's week 7. Usually the written assignment is due on Friday instead of Sunday. Get all of your late assignments in. Complete your forums if you have not completed them. I can give you some partial credit. And of course, as usual, the course evaluation should be coming out in your Antioch email this week. So give it a look, fill it out. And then we will go from there. We can get some extra credit points if you complete the evaluation and let me know per this discussion forum. So, I hope this has been beneficial to you. And thank you for joining in. All right, take care.